Good afternoon, everyone. Mary Sloan here with another episode of Inspirational Influencer News, People Making a Difference. And my guest this afternoon is Rosemay Carminati. I probably slaughtered that.
Very good. You said it right.
Oh, good. Thank you. She is the owner of Healthy Connections, and she has been in the business of creating helpful connections for everyone she meets, both with themselves and others. She's a certified elite mentorship trainer with the Peter Sage Academy. She's a 30-year career in corporate sales and sales management. Oh boy, can she sell? So you don't do 30 years in that without being gosh darn good at it, which means she respects her people because that's really what it takes. And a retired personal trainer and yoga teacher. 33 years married to the same person with 2 adult children and 2 grandsons. So, Rosemay, what is it that you really want people to know from our conversation today?
Well, I think my driving force in what I do in my life has always been, it's so cliche to help other people. But now, especially, I see so much suffering in our country and in the world and with people, and a lot of anxiety and stress and things they bring upon themselves. And I really believe that it's unnecessary. And if I can be a catalyst, and what I usually do, part of the big processes I go through is examine and break through most of the limiting beliefs that many of us have taken upon ourselves. They're like the anchor or the albatross on our back that we've been living with for years and years. I help break through those limiting beliefs so that we can be the person we want to be and accomplish what we want to accomplish.
And that's pretty amazing because it is those limiting beliefs. I mean, we're our own worst enemies. If we could just talk to our minds first and say, no, it's okay. I actually know what I'm doing. It'll be fine. It would be so good.
But the thing is, in everyone's defense, is we know what we've been taught, and we know what we know and what we've been conditioned to believe. And I mean, from a young age, I learned this now with my grandsons. I've always considered myself a fantastic mom, but I'm an even better grandmother because of what I've learned in the last few years through some of my training. And that, even as a child, from the time that you're 2, that unconditional love starts to change because there's no's and there's don'ts. And then sometimes maybe we don't love you just that as much because you did that bad thing. And one of the processes I help people go through is to learn conditional love is such a driving force for just about everybody. We're born wanting love. That's one of our basic human needs. And if we can realize that the first and foremost that we should love is ourselves, and it's okay. I mean, that's giving you a leg up, let's put it that way, because too many people don't love themselves. And they are searching for that unconditional love, and they don't know how to find it. And they probably won't find it until they do learn to love themselves.
Yeah, I think it's got to start there. It's a very personal conversation because you can't really even love somebody else until you can love yourself.
No, definitely not. I mean, some of the things that I've learned in the last few years, one of my big aha moments. Now, let me tell you a little bit how I started what I'm doing right now. About 10 years ago, after a lifetime of great career, raising my family, everything else, everyone has the pitfalls in their lives. I mean, I've had my share of ups and downs and some trauma in childhood and college and et cetera, and always was optimistic and get up, pick up yourself up by your bootstraps. You can do this. You can do this. My nickname when I was a kid was Rosie the Riveter. So if you're old enough to remember what that is, we can do this. And about 12 years ago or so, give or take, a whole bunch of really bad things happened to our family. So it's a lot of struggles and things that would have broken up our marriage, could have I mean, could have destroyed me emotionally, personally. And I started on a quest to find myself again and to learn the strength that I knew was deep down inside. And through that transformation process of learning, and I found this program that I've been involved in for 2 years, and started out, just dabbling with my toes in the water, and gradually more deeply involved, to the point where last fall, when the program was offered as, if you'd like to, you can become a trainer, and studied to become a trainer for this program. I was, diving in head first, couldn't wait, because what I saw in myself and in the people around me. Because one of my mentors' sayings that really hit home to me was, first of all, we know we can't change other people. No matter how you try, how hard you try, you can't change other people. But his saying is, be the example and the invitation. And here I was, transforming and growing and feeling stronger and more empowered, and oh my gosh, feeling more abundant. There's so many wonderful adjectives I could say. And I wanted to be able to share that with other people. And I knew I was having friends and family coming up to me saying, what are you doing? I don't know. How come you're reacting like that? Most people would get mad. Why aren't you worried of what they're thinking of, what they think about you, etc. And they saw that through the trainings that I was going through, and what I was learning about myself and my capabilities, that a lot of that garbage was gone. And so now I have a passion for sharing it and helping people along the way. Everything from children, if I can help my grandsons not to be burdened with some of those things that we learn as we get older, either through society or through friends, peer groups, etc. If I can help them get through those processes and still understand that they actually rule their emotions, they are the ones that can decide if that's going to bother me or if it's not. It sounds like simple stuff, and it really is when you think about it, but it does take some self-examination and some work, especially the older you get.
Well, because I've done a lot of work in this area as well. And the thing that I always find confounding is we just instantly jump to a conclusion about what it all means. I mean, we are just, I guess it's why the book was called Man's Search for Meaning. We have to attach some sort of meaning to it, as if our life depended on it. And apparently it does, because it's such a common thing that happens to everybody that, you can't have an event happen and give it time to let it settle. Mm-hmm. You have to instantly jam it into some pocket. And that can be so damaging. And you find yourself years later going, why did I put that there? That didn't really have to be there. It could really have meant this. It could really have meant that. It could have meant, why didn't I ask a couple of questions at the time that would have helped me clarify it? But, oh man, we are jump-to-itous.
Well, it's jump-to-itous. It's because something we've learned. If you think about, I have a lot of people in my life that the fear of other people's opinions of them, oh my gosh, they're led by that. And, the saying, if you only knew how little people care about you or talking about you, it's so true. They spend all their time, well, what are they going to think, what I say, how I look, da, 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 da. And meanwhile, that person is thinking the same thing about how you're thinking about. It's like, it's absolute insanity. Instead of trusting, first of all, in your own abilities and what you have, but also if that person is judging you and they have a bad opinion of you, if you're intentionally not doing anything to hurt them or do anything wrong, then they're judging and they don't know you. So do you really care their opinion of you? Number one. And number two, they're probably not even thinking about it in the first place. And the folks that I have a couple of people in my life that live in absolute fear of making decisions because, well, let's see the repercussions. This one might think that one might think that. And like, Do what
Wow.
feels good to you. Well, part of, I mean, I like to talk about, like, oh my gosh, there's so many things that are involved in some of the programs I do. But another thing that I really feel wholeheartedly is a driving force for a lot of people is understanding other people's motivation. And these basic needs for human behavior. And like, I think I might have put it in my write-up about the basic needs for human behavior are love, of course. Everyone is looking for love of one form or another. Everyone wants to find love. Some people, it's very important that they have significance. They need to be recognized. They need the approval, their fear of failure, etc. Other people, it's a need for certainty. So they're very risk averse. They're afraid to just, oh, let's try that road instead of that road because I'm uncertain. Some people are, the other basic need is uncertainty. I have people in my life that are so much are they're risk takers that it's kind of scary because they want complete uncertainty. They're not the type that are going to sit in a cubicle in an office because it's too mundane and boring. But the other two that really hit home to me, these are big, besides love as being my driving force, the other two are growth and contribution. And those have been very important to me my whole life. And so when I'm in a situation and I can get my needs, I can get my feelings hurt if someone is saying something and I'm wondering, well, why are they saying that to me? And if you, like you said, if you just took a moment and stopped and thought about where they're coming from and what are their needs and what are my expectations? Why am I expecting them to react a certain way when that's not part of what their basic needs are? We have people, and I have someone in my life that significance is a huge part of his life, having a title and being recognized. And I think I mentioned to you, so when the time comes when retirement, which is a big part of the category of folks I work with, when retirement comes along, what happens to that need for significance? No one's there to say, good job, boss. No one's giving you that raise. And now all of a sudden, your significance has to come from within.
Yeah, that retirement thing is such a big thing for a lot of people because they really depended on not only their title, but their kind of status in the community and their, that they could go anywhere and they were a such and such, as opposed to, I can go anywhere. I have a name. You can go anywhere. You have a name. And does anybody need to know more? Really? Let's have a conversation. But a lot of people can't, that's not enough. They want to have that title. So I love the title of your talk, which was, getting out of that. How do you move past the title and become the importance of you as opposed to your title, which is just that, it's a title.
It's so simple. It's unbelievable. If everybody knew all the little exercises you could do to actually identify yourself. Our identities, first of all, our name. Okay, so a lot of people, if they say, hi, I'm so-and-so, hi, I'm so-and-so, and that's who they are, their name. But how many people, their identity is so tied into what they do for a living, or if they don't have a job, then that's a whole nother shame. And, they just feel terrible about themselves. But the idea that we are what we do. And when that is stripped away, our identities they're like the clothes we put on every day. They're not stuck like glue. What I was, who I would say I was when I was 20 years old, is a completely different 60-year-old Rosemary. So the wonderful part is that our identity and the empowerment of who we are can change and grow. And I love to help people with that, especially in retirement, that don't really understand. So who am I? First of all, let's make a list of your awesomeness. Let's look at what your strengths are, what things that you change the world with. A lot of people don't realize, I am so and so. I was the general manager of such and such. But how many other wonderful things did you do in your life where you've made such a wonderful contribution and changed people's lives? How about what an amazing father, friend, son, uncle, philanthropist, and like I think I might have put it in my bio. I change my identity statements all the time, but I like to say that I am a let me find it because it's. I think this was the latest one I came up with. Blah, 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 blah. Oh well, I don't know where I put it, but basically is that I am someone that helps people grow, and I recognize uniqueness, and I'm a spreader of hope. So much more than the elite trainer that I am. There's so many other ways that I'm contributing to the world. And what also happens in retirement is your sense of purpose. The sense of purpose is gone. I don't have that 9 to 5. I put my feet on the floor in the morning. Now what do I do?
Yeah, the day is mine. I don't have to worry about whether or not I have coffee by 7, because I don't have to get a train to somewhere by 7:30. And I don't, I mean, like, how do I get through my day?
Yes. And how do I feel that same feeling of growth and contribution? Because when you're in a job and you have those quotas to meet and you have a boss to answer to or whatever, you have to keep contributing and you have to keep growing and changing with the times. 20 years ago, when we didn't have internet and Zoom, you met in person. Now in a job, you have to learn how to do this kind of stuff. So you're constantly growing and evolving. And in retirement, what happens? And when we don't grow, we atrophy, and then we slowly
Shrink.
shrink. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I'll
I
tell
can
you,
see the words.
my
coming.
words are, yes, atrophy. Yes. And we shrivel up. And I have people in my life I've witnessed when they wait and they wait and they wait. I can't wait for retirement. And I'm going to plan this and I'm going to do that. And they do that traveling and they do a couple of things here and there. And then or in between the travel dates, what do? And they end up feeling empty, lonely, unfulfilled. Oftentimes in my research, I'm seeing a lot of depression. I'm seeing a whole heck of a lot of stress and anxiety. And this is supposed to be the best times of your life. You worked hard to get to this point, but you hadn't learned all those years and those decades while you were working that there's more to life. There's more to fulfillment than success, the idea of what we call success, the monetary, the cars in the garage, the boat, the diamond on the finger, all of that stuff. How many people do you know, Mary, that they would be considered successful, but they're so not really very happy? They're actually miserable. I know a lot of miserable, successful people.
Yeah. I was pretty fortunate because I lived a lot of my life in the horse world, and horse people are interesting people because they're more attached to who they are around their horses than even to the big jobs that they had often to pay for the horses. So I said, and you knew them in a different way too. Horses were a great leveler because all of a sudden, the confidence with the people and stuff. Oh, this is an awful big critter. What do I do?
Right.
But it is interesting what we think we have to have in order to be who we are, when really there's nothing you have to be who you are. You are who you are.
You are what you seek. You are what you seek. I'm tongue twisted today, so some days the words come out backwards. But you are that which you seek. I mean, horse people, I love the fact that I know a lot of people that are very much involved in horse and horse therapy, and horses give you that unconditional love. And you get your confidence, and they can read you just as well as you can read them. I mean, the things that I've learned in some of my friends with their equine therapy and the stress relief that people get, and the people that they work with that have learning challenges or emotional issues, and that love that they get from the horse, and the strength and the power they get from knowing that they can handle the horse, like you said, at that size. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's fascinating. People are endlessly fascinating, and the people that get to retirement who have so much to contribute, if they just relax a little and go, okay, where can I contribute now, as opposed to thinking that their title means something, or
Mhm.
because it's really, they've got so much to give, because getting the title also gave them a whole lot of skills, a
Oh,
whole
yes.
lot of knowledge, a whole lot of information that they can now make such a huge difference out there in the world with the people who would never otherwise have access to it. I mean, amazing the things that they can do when they don't have to be the CEO or the, general manager, or whatever their title was.
Hmm. Yeah, and you're at a stage in your life now where the stress level should be lower, but if you aren't prepared, you're not prepared for the letdown. I mean, I know people that in retirement are actually angry because they expected so much more. It's like, is this all there is? I worked so hard, and then like, what? Well, it's what you make of it now at this point. Because
Yeah.
if you were expecting all of a sudden there's going to be balloons and fireworks every day, it's not going to happen. But if you want to find your purpose, if you want to look at your values, that's the other thing. Perhaps a good portion of their life, they weren't living in alignment with their true values. I have exercises where we go through that, the values that they want to work towards, the values they want to work away from. How many people are living in not in congruency with their values? They're doing things for the money, but is it really something that brings them joy and fulfillment? And then, like I said, I have folks in retirement that are downright angry and resentful. And I help them with that as well, because let's let go of some of that, the resentment and how debilitating it is.
Well, I mean, it's like all these emotions which crop up very quickly. And like, do we really have to be mad? Do we really have to be this upset? Is that really, like, really what? Look around you. Is it really worth all that, angst and turmoil and upset? And I don't, it's like, what, that doesn't serve you.
No, and it's our choice. We choose. I mean, one of the titles of one of the talks I give is about choosing your own reality. We make a choice on how we emotionally react and how we hold on to things. And again, it sounds so basic, but after you've made it a lifetime and a habit, it can be a challenge to sit down and evaluate and examine and decide what things are you going to let go. And maybe there's some things in your life that you thought were the worst things that ever happened to you that now we can go through and with a list of gratitudes decide, maybe I'm actually kind of grateful that happened. And it's possible. And I've seen it happen, and it's happened to me, where something I was holding on to, actually, I wouldn't be where I am right now if that hadn't happened. So there's a way of turning your perspective around and actually be grateful and be appreciative and not be living in the victim mode and the scarcity mode. That's the other thing we have. Now, I now work with and know a lot of people from a lot of different countries and cultures. And um, it sounds like it's not, I don't want to say I'm stereotyping the United States, but in a way, we do have a lot of folks in our country that don't appreciate everything that we have.
Oh, so, and I'm not sure that it's, at all unique to the United States or even to North America. I mean, I think it's really hard for a lot of people to appreciate everything they do have, because we spend so much time somehow or other analyzing what's missing. Why is this, and it's kind
And
of crazy.
comparing
Yeah.
social media. Oh, I mean, I would not want to be a teenager or a 20-something-year-old with the stuff that's on social media all the time. Who is ever going to live up to the images that are out there? And if you really truly were to know most of those people, and you look at the lifestyle images and stuff, you're like, is that, most of it is not real, or there's so much underneath where they're unhappy. So what? They've got the Lamborghini,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they're 3 times divorced. Their kids don't talk to them. But when you're not emotionally mature enough yet to understand all that, that's what's happening to a lot of young people nowadays, is they don't understand that, and they don't see the insignificance of social media and what it really the lack of the important position it should play in their lives. I mean, it's a great connector. I absolutely love what we can do right now, and I can talk to somebody from Zimbabwe. I love all of that. But the idea of communicating, and that's the way you determine your self-worth, which is another problem that I see a lot of.
Well, because I mean, really, whatever is out on social media is just a minuscule amount of who they are. I always am amazed at people who take all this stuff personally. I mean, I have a really, quick way of dealing with people on social media who think I should do something or think I should be a certain way. Or what drives me crazy is people who think you should just, be there at their beck and call. Oh, I wanted to call you, so I called. People that do that to me, call just out of the clear blue, especially that I don't know. I live a busy life, by choice, because I choose to put lots into it. And I don't want to be disturbed by people calling. And, they get one shot at it and do it twice, and you're gone, which is one of the things I appreciate about social media, because if I don't want somebody in my life, poof, they're gone.
And that's another great thing about, there's so many wonderful things. I could do a whole talk on the wonderful, wonderful parts of getting older in life. And there are so many benefits, so many reasons to be happy and joyful about being in this stage in your life, when you're what used to be like, I still have friends that almost feel like they got a foot in the grave type of attitude. Like, well, that door is closed. Can't do that anymore. Can't do that anymore. Not me. I'm still in a wonderful, growing, abundant part of my life. And I look forward to the next decade and the next decade. But what you realize as you get older is saying no and understanding where your priorities are and your alignment of your values and all those other wonderful things. And it's just great to be at that point in your life. And that's another thing I love to share with people, is that this is where we should be enjoying and should be vibrant and energetic. And, obviously health, if you have health issues, that's another thing, but let's work on your mindset. And yes, you've got some of those limitations because of your health, but that doesn't necessarily have to change the way you're thinking. And let's look at this and try to find something, the lesson or some positivity in something that's happened that's not the best.
Yeah. Well, and just relax. I mean, I think we live sort of stressful lives in a world that should be so stress-free compared to what people had to live with in the past. I mean, the number of things that, you can do in a flash that used to take people an entire day to do and stuff. I mean, it's absolutely magical. Like you said, oh, I'd like to be connected to someone in Zimbabwe. Great. Find them on social media. There you go.
But it gets down to so many people are stuck in that I'm going to be happy when. I'm going to be happy when I find the man. I'm going to be happy when I get a better job. I'm going to be happy when I make this amount of money. I'm going to be happy. What about now? I like to say you never run out of now. It is what it is. Now. Enjoy the now. The now. It's not a verb. It's not a noun.
It's a moment. It's a moment of now, which is all the time, right?
Yes. Yeah. And if we're always chasing after that, I'm not going to find fulfillment until I get. We're not celebrating each little day, every little thing that is given to us. It just, again, it's so simplistic to me, but it's so hard for some people.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and given the headlines and all the people with guns that seem to be quite willing to change what you thought your next day was going to look like, to be happy with now should be so big in people's lives.
And also to realize, I know a lot of people that are media junkies, and I do believe in understanding what's happening in the world, but to become obsessed with it when you have no control over so much of it. Take care of your, Mother Teresa, I can't say her saying, I don't even want to try. Take care of your corner of the world. If we each do, my ring that I wear every day as a reminder is the Gandhi, be the change you wish to see in the world. And every decision I make, if I stop for a second and I realize, okay, who can benefit from this? How can I help? How can I make an improvement? Raise social consciousness, raise the significance of someone else. If we all do that, we'll all be a lot happier. And all that other crap that's out there, it's unfortunate and it's happening and it's real, but getting stuck in the muck and the mire is not helping us either.
No. And I think it's great. I mean, be the change that you want to see in the world. If we all did that and took that on and lived that, I mean, don't like something, great. Be it, change it,
Yep.
Because you can do it from the inside. You can't do it from the outside by judging it.
No, definitely not. And how about practicing unconditional love without judgment, a little bit of acceptance? So simple. And accept a person for where they are emotionally too. That's another thing that I let go years ago. There are people in my life that I would get on the phone and I would be disappointed afterwards. And I'd say, why? Why am I disappointed? Why am I expecting to get a different result when that is where they are emotionally? That is, whatever, if they're judgmental or they're critical of other people and they get on and all they do is and okay, you take it for what it is and you get off and you don't let it ruin the rest of your day. They're still in your life because maybe you're related to them. So that's, but if you're not related to them, time to look at your peer group.
Yeah, well, and you can choose your friends, you
Right.
absolutely can. And, find the people that make you feel fantastic.
Yeah.
And, it's sort of like what I like doing with this show is allowing people who really are making a difference in the world to come on and have a place to speak. And, maybe we can start to change the world, which is my dream, so that people worry about, making a difference. What difference can you make in the world today? How can you make the world a better place instead of worrying about what somebody else is doing or what somebody else said or whatever? How can you make the world a better place today? You're still alive. How can you make the world a better place? What difference can you make? So
yeah, and instead of worrying about your piece of the pie, your piece of the pie is always going to be there, one way or the other. If you have faith in your abilities and you do the right thing,
things will come.
Yeah, they do.
Anyway, sadly, oh my gosh, we've had so much fun. We're even over time. All right. I love it when conversations go over time. It means that we were having a good time. So that's a good thing. And how can people get hold of you, Rosemary, to find more of your goodies and all that you have to contribute?
Well, I'd like to say that, first of all, the programs that I have a very simplistic 2-day program that just lets you kind of get a taste and understand some of the processes. I have a larger program that's a 5-day. I have a 6-month deep dive, majorly life-changing program. So there are a whole bunch of different combinations. So I like to talk to people one-on-one. And the best way to get a hold of me is either through Facebook. You can PM me on Facebook, Rosemay Carminati, or LinkedIn. I'm available there. I have a Calendly link on LinkedIn. And those are the three ways right now. I do have a landing page that is in the process of being changed, so that will be in the future. But those three, I personally, like I said, I want to talk to you one-on-one, find out where you are, what your needs are, and then go from there.
Sounds good. So look her up, folks. She's on social media. She's out there, and probably calendly.com, Rosemay Carminati, and you can see her name spelt there. Thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun. We really appreciate it.
It has been, Mary. Mary, definitely. I could go for another cup of coffee and chat some more.
We definitely could do that.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.